Hello, Deke. Professor Weasley said you wanted to tell me more about the loom.
Ah, hello. Yes, about that. Deke has had a thought. He... Seems the room thinks you need more space for your beasts. As Deke was saying, he's had a thought. Now, Deke knows how you can test the item of clothing that you enhanced in the enchanted loom. And perhaps help an old friend in the process.
What do you mean?
A house elf named Tobbs works for his master, retrieving leech juice in a cave near Hogwarts. Tobbs' master doesn't let him leave the cave, and Deke knows the cave is infested with spiders.
That sounds awful.
It is. Deke hasn't heard from his friend for a while now. As the item you wove in the loom has an enchantment that might be useful, Deke thought you could test it whilst checking on Tobbs.
I understand. Leave it to me, Deke. I'll find Tobbs for you.
Oh, thank you. Please let Deke know what you learn about Deke's old friend.
I'm back from the cave, Deke.
Wonderful. Deke hopes you gave Deke's best to Tobbs.
I'm sorry to tell you this, Deke, but Tobbs is gone. It seems he was unable to avoid the spiders in the end.
Oh my. Deke was afraid of this, alone in that cave for so long. Oh, poor Tobbs. Deke and Tobbs once shared the same master. When he died, we were separated. Deke always wished Tobbs had been sent to Hogwarts too. Deke feels lucky to serve such kind witches and wizards like you. Deke will miss his friend dearly, and will raise a glass to him with a heavy heart.
I'm truly sorry about your friend, Deke.
Thank you. You are very kind. Deke could use some time alone to think, if that's all right.
Is this Mr. Bickle's home?
I believe so. He supposedly has evidence against Harlow. We need to speak with him.
Are you all right? We're looking for Mr. Bickle.
My husband is dead. He killed him.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Bickle. Who killed your husband?
Theophilus Harlow. I'm sure of it. He's been threatening my husband for weeks and... Oh, where is my son? Where is Archie?
I don't mean to be grim, but could Harlow have taken him?
Archie's satchel is missing, so he may have left on his own. Hopefully he's just gone wandering, as he's prone to do. I hope he wasn't here when my husband...
Do you know which way Archie might have gone?
He has a little hideout in the forest south of here. He never wanders far. But if he witnessed Harlow doing something to his father, I'm afraid to leave, in case he comes back home.
Is there anything more you can tell me about Harlow?
He's Victor Rookwood's second in command. A miserable, awful creature. Vicious and murderous.
What reason would Harlow have to kill your husband?
My husband had been looking into Harlow's dealings and discovered some of what he's been up to. I begged him to leave it alone, but he was convinced that...
We'll find your son, Mrs. Bickle.
Thank you. What am I going to do?
A man called Harlow. He killed my father.
We're so sorry, Archie. We won't let him get away with it. But first we need to get you home to your mother.
Thank you for saving me.
We wouldn't have it any other way, Archie. Now, let's get you home. We know a safe way back. Your husband's friends may be in danger.
Just as he was.
How can we help?
You've done enough. My husband was a powerful wizard and couldn't defeat Harlow. The last thing we need is that monster coming after you.
It may be too late for that. I'm afraid Harlow's already after us.
Then you needn't anger him further. I assure you, the threat could be a lot worse. Please, please keep your distance.
I'm sorry again about your husband, Mrs. Bickle.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing Archie home. I can never repay the two of you for your kindness.
I received your owl. What happened with Ominous?
I told him none of us will be able to avoid dark magic forever. So the more we know about Salazar Slytherin and the dark arts, the better prepared we'll be. Unfortunately, only a Gaunt knows the location of the Scriptorium's entrance, and Ominous won't tell me.
Perhaps I should have a chat with Ominous.
You? I suppose it's worth a try. But don't get your hopes up. Ominous is annoyingly stubborn. Nothing new. I know where he is. I'll lead you to him and then leave you to it. Come on.
Hello, Ominous. Do you have a moment?
What is it? What have you and Sebastian been up to now?
I owe you an apology, Ominous. I wasn't honest with you before about the Undercroft. Sebastian did show it to me. He wanted me to have a safe place to practice some spells, to try and catch up to the other fifth years. He didn't think you'd mind.
I suppose that makes sense. It's just Sebastian's been pestering me lately about something and I'm frustrated with him.
Don't tell me he's still going on about... What was it? Scriptorium?
He told you about that?
He did. We were talking about our house founder and he mentioned it. Wouldn't say much more, though.
Yes, well, he seems to think it contains the answer to saving Anne. I think it's likely full of dark magic that is better left untouched.
Wait, you've never been inside?
Of course not. I only know about it because of my favourite aunt, Noctua. She thought like I do. Didn't agree with the family on the use of dark magic. In fact, she'd hoped to convince my family that there was more to Salazar Slytherin than worshipping pureblood status. She'd heard of this scriptorium and thought its contents might shed some light on him. She even found the secret entrance in this very corridor. She wrote regularly to my father about her efforts to gain access, and then she simply vanished. No one else ever tried to enter.
That is a bit unnerving. I suppose even if it might lead to answers about what happened to your aunt, it does pose a risk.
Aunt Noctua went down this path with good intentions and lost her life. I don't want the same to happen again.
You don't know that history will repeat itself. Besides, you said your aunt thought like you. This could honor her memory. Get you answers about Slytherin and Sebastian answers for Anne. Your aunt pursued this alone. We could do it together.
I see what you've done here, and I confess, you've convinced me. I didn't think it possible. Very well. I shall tell you what I know. Fetch Sebastian, I'll wait. Voice is ancient.
You hear a voice?
It started when you repaired that relief. I hear a whisper saying, "Speak to me." I'm a parcel mouth. I can hear and speak to snakes. Nearly all known parcel mouths are descended from Salazar Slytherin.
I wish all Slytherins could talk to snakes.
You might not want the ability to speak parcel tongue. It's often associated with dark wizards. I haven't spoken it in ages, but I'd wager if I speak it now, the door will open. I'm hoping you're having second thoughts.
Believe me, I am having thoughts, but I'm still convinced we should go ahead.
It's ironic. When I left home, I vowed to leave the dark arts behind, and yet here I am. Stand back.
You said you know what to do.
Tortured faces on the door and Crucios etched into the stone. My guess is if we cast the Cruciatus curse, the door will open. That's why Noctua died. She had no one to cast the curse on. Ominous has the most experience with this. He should cast it. You seem to be in Ominous's favor. Will you ask him about this?
He does seem a bit cross with you. I'll speak with him.
Good. Work your magic, so to speak.
Ominous, I hadn't imagined we'd end up trapped like this.
Salazar Slytherin did. He's to blame for many unimaginable things. I overheard you and Sebastian, and I won't do it. The Cruciatus curse is pure torture, I would know.
Sebastian told me a little of what happened when you were young. Sounds as if you had no choice.
Should have known he would have told you. And one always has a choice. I'm as guilty as the worst of my family. Unforgivable curses won't work unless you really mean them. I had to want to cause pain, and for that I shall never forgive myself. That spell's the reason I have no family left. You and Sebastian will need to sort out another solution.
What do we do now? Ominous is not going to cast the Cruciatus Curse again.
Ridiculous. As if dying in here is a better option than casting a damned spell. It's up to us. I can teach you Crucio, or I can cast it on you.
Wait, you didn't say you knew how to cast Crucio?
Because I'm not sure I do. Ominous knows that, yet he's left us no choice. I don't yearn to follow in Noctua Gaunt's footsteps. I think I can cast it if I have to.
I want to learn the curse, but I won't cast it on you. You need to cast it on me.
I shan't forget this.
Ready?
I'm ready. What do you think?
Looks like a spellbook of some kind. This is incredible. A Hogwarts founder's possession. What an honor. Still can't believe Ominous never told me about his aunt and what she found.
What will you do with Slytherin's spellbook?
What I do with every book. Read it. Having professors as parents ingrained that habit early on. But I can do that later. For now, I say we explore this room.
Professor, do you have a moment?
I do.
May I ask what attracted you to astronomy?
You may. Might I assume from your inquiry that you wonder how anyone may have an interest in astronomy?
Oh, not at all, Professor. I find it intriguing and wanted to know more about your work.
Ah, that is good to hear. So often those who do not fully understand all that can be gleaned from the stars question astronomy's relevance. Misperceptions frequently arise due to the confusion of astronomy with astrology, the ridiculousness of which I shall not deign to discuss. To answer your question, it was my dear sister who first sparked my interest in stargazing. The two of us spent countless nights on our rooftops staring at the cosmos. It was one of the only subjects we could study together.
I'm not sure I follow, Professor. Why was that?
My sister is a squib. Clever, hard-working, and generous, but a squib nonetheless. The only non-magical child born to our family in generations, poor thing. Although she manages exceptionally well.
It sounds as if she's a lovely person, and accomplished.
She is. And to her credit, while she was once disappointed not to attend Hogwarts, she has excelled in Muggle school. One of the first women, we suspect, to have attended Cambridge, well disguised at the time by our mother as a gentleman scholar. And as astronomy is one subject shared between the Muggle world and ours, she and I have been able to maintain that common interest. We still sneak up to a rooftop now and then to gaze upwards, courtesy of a levitation charm rather than a trellis nowadays.
Thank you for telling me about your sister, Professor.
I was glad to. It is good to be reminded of all that one can accomplish when one embraces who one is. Now off you go. I am sure you've a star chart to review somewhere.
Professor, I wondered if I could ask how you came to Hogwarts.
Ah, I suppose that is not an unexpected question. After I told you about my time in Mahutokoro, it was a simple matter of fate, really. After my experience with the Toyohashi Tengu, I was determined to find work that would fulfill me. I accepted a position with the Japanese Ministry of Magic. I cannot tell you the specifics of my work. A few years into my post, I had the honor of working with Professor Weasley, at the time a curse breaker for the British Ministry.
Professor Weasley was a curse breaker for the Ministry.
She was. But I would advise you not to inquire upon it. She is quite clear that her focus is now Hogwarts. We coordinated, shall we say, defensive efforts on a particular matter, and were talking one evening about the rigors of our respective positions. She mentioned plans to return to Britain and Hogwarts specifically. I noted I could appreciate her decision. Her description of the school was so enchanting that when she wrote to me a few years later about the open position of flying professor, I was intrigued.
I suppose I can understand wanting to move on from all that you went through with the Tengu.
But that is not at all what happened. I was not moving on. What happened will always be a part of me. I learned from it. My reason for coming to Hogwarts was to expand my horizons.
Then you enjoy being a flying instructor, even after all that happened?
I do. And not despite all that happened, but because of it. You would do well to let lessons be just that, lessons. Learn from your errors, in judgment or otherwise. I am proud to impart such knowledge upon students, no matter where in the globe they may reside.
Professor, could you tell me how you and Natty ended up at Hogwarts?
I can. That is an easy question. We are here because of Professor Weasley.
You knew Professor Weasley when you were in Uganda?
I knew of Professor Weasley. As you may or may not be aware, Professor Weasley's work once took her around the globe. Without providing detail that is not mine to share, I can say that she was well known in our wizarding community for, well, sharing magical knowledge between countries.
Professor Weasley seems quite knowledgeable, so I'm not surprised to hear that she'd do that sort of thing.
Indeed. Although I suspect there is much about each of your professors that would surprise and impress you. Such exchanges of information, ministry sanctioned or not, have occurred for centuries. It was an African sorcerer, in fact, who shared the unlocking charm with a certain wizard from London. A thief, rather unfortunately.
I see.
But, back to your original question. Professor Weasley had heard of my work and life in Matabeleland and my time teaching at Ouagadougou. She was deputy headmistress at Hogwarts by then, and when the position of divination professor became available, she contacted me. Her timing was perfect. I had just foreseen a change in Nat's size and my circumstances and knew that we needed to leave Uganda. Natsai was as ready as I was for a new adventure. So, off we went.
Natty has spoken of your move. She was quite kind to me my first day here, in Charms.
That sounds like Natsai. I'm glad she has found a friend in you. Now, I must return to my work. As I've told Natsai, do be careful. I had a vision earlier this year of her with a friend, flying on winged beasts. Perhaps unsurprisingly, she will neither confirm nor deny my visions. Unless it suits her.
I received your owl. I was able to speak with Lodgok, the goblin I mentioned before.
What did you learn?
He and Ranrock were close once, but they had a falling out.
You believe he can be trusted?
I believe he's trustworthy, yes. He seems sincere, and Serona Ryan trusts him.
Very well. Supposing he can be trusted, will he help us get to Ranrock?
I retrieved a stolen helm that he hopes to return to Ranrock in order to regain his confidence.
You have been busy. Let's hope your efforts result in our learning something about Ranrock's plans.
Lodgok did mention that Ranrock is searching for something, but he couldn't say what. Perhaps that helm will yield some answers.
Ranrock is searching for something? I feared as much. I've heard an unusual amount of activity, goblins and wizards, I surmise, when visiting my portrait at my castle.
Rookwood Castle?
My former residence, yes. That castle is also the location of your next trial.
You didn't see anything? Speak with anyone?
I did not. In fact, I did not make myself known. I only recently returned there and did not recognize nor trust anyone that I heard. I stayed out of sight so as not to tempt my portrait's destruction.
I'm sorry to tell you that Victor Rookwood, evidently your descendant, is a dark wizard in league with Ranrock.
My descendant? A dark wizard? I'm afraid we've no time to waste. Despite the obstacles that clearly await you, you must get to Rookwood Castle immediately. Not only is it the location of the next trial, it is home to a source of power that would be devastating in the wrong hands. I do wish we had the luxury of time. However, I do not doubt your abilities. Find my portrait there as soon as you can.
Very well, sir. I'm on my way.
Best of luck.
No time to waste. I'll meet you at Rookwood Castle.
What's going on here?
Professor Rookwood was right. The place is crawling with Victor Rookwood's lot and Ranrock's loyalists. They're working together, all right, but it is not a friendly alliance. I'm sure you'll agree that we need to find a way in other than the front gate. Let's go.
If I'd known your plan was to dig up half the country...
I wouldn't have to dig if you could simply manage to bring me the child.
We wouldn't need the child if you hadn't sent a dragon to retrieve the container I spent months and countless ministry favors tracking.
You let them board the carriage. My options were limited once I knew it would be inconveniently beyond my reach at that infernal school.
Have you not acquired enough power here? I allowed you to tunnel under my family home.
Allowed me? You are here only because you are descended from a keeper and may at some point inadvertently become valuable. We had an agreement. I will share with you the power that I discovered if you locate the stores of magic that are yet to be found. So, unless you want another demonstration of my power, a power that you one day hope to wield, bring me the child.
We already knew they were after you, but now we know they're digging for stores of magic.
And Ranrock knows about the Keepers.
Yes, I caught that too. Professor Rookwood said that you'd understand more once you complete the next trial.
Let's get into that castle. Professor Rookwood, the goblins and dark wizards who've overrun your castle are digging for stores of magic and have broken open some sort of container.
No! Things are more dire than I could have imagined. If, as you told Percival, a goblin in his vault was wielding a powerful magic, then they have somehow learned. It cannot be!
And sir, they know you were a keeper. Ranrock used the term.
This makes no sense. How did... We shall discuss this later. Right now, you must complete the next trial.
Just tell me where I need to go.
The power you stand to wield must first be fully understood. The trials will ensure that. Power without knowledge is dangerous indeed. In the wrong hands, we will simply have to outwit Ranrock and my unfortunate namesake.
Very well, Professor. Tell me where I need to go.
I shall reveal the path. Professor Fig must leave you now.
I must say I'm curious to hear of Isidore's travels.
Do come in. Please, have a seat.
Isadora, we are all most intrigued to hear.
We're ready. I've something to show you. Father, these are my colleagues from Hogwarts. Father hasn't spoken since my brother died. On my travels, I confirmed that which I've always believed. that we have the power to take away pain.
Isadora. What have you done?
I took his pain.
This is uncharted magic, Isadora. You can only see what has been sealed in the jar, and we do not know what power that may hold. But the traces of that magic are different from what I've seen before.
Thank you.
It is good to see you again.
Professor Rookwood told me about what happened at Rookwood Castle.
In light of the dire circumstances in which we find ourselves, it is most fortunate that someone so competent is following this path.
Thank you, Professor. I shall keep this second artifact safe, as you've advised.
Good. Are you ready to move on?
What was the glowing stand that Isadora pulled from her father's chest?
It was pain. You will understand more about her actions as you complete the trials.
I'm ready for whatever comes next.
In that case, introductions are in order.
Allow me to introduce former Hogwarts headmistress, Neve Fitzgerald.
How do you do? I must say that I was not entirely surprised to learn that a student had been completing the trials. I've always believed Hogwarts students capable of anything they set their minds to.
Thank you, Professor. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
I am certain that you are more than capable of completing my trial. However, I must first, how shall I say, prepare the location of your next trial.
We trust your judgment, Professor Fitzgerald. You should know better than anyone how to manage the inconvenience of, well...
A vainglorious and exasperating headmaster? Indeed I should. I shall confirm that everything is in order immediately.
Of course. Professor Fitzgerald needs some time to clear the way forward. Until then, you should continue to hone your magic. If you learn more about Ranrock and Victor Rookwood's activities in the meantime, please let us know.
Very well, Professor. I know. Continue to hone my magic.
You do learn quickly. Hopefully you will soon hear from Lodgok as well, and we shall learn how he fared with the helmet you retrieved. Well done today, as always. We shall speak again soon.
Hello, Deke. You wanted to talk to me?
Indeed. Deek thought you might want to learn how to build a breeding pen so that you can breed beasts.
That sounds a very good idea.
Rescuing and breeding beasts go hand in hand. Young beasts are particularly vulnerable to poachers. Breeding beasts here in the room will allow us to keep the younger ones safe.
I see. And what do I need to do?
First, bring a pair of beasts to the room. One male, one female. Deek suggests rescuing thestrals, as they're at great risk from poachers. Noble creatures, but their relationship with death gives them a bad reputation. They're prized by poachers for their tail hairs.
I've seen thestrals before, but where would I find a pair of them nearby?
Deek has seen some wild thestrals not too far from the Hogwarts grounds. Then you'll need to purchase a spellcraft for the pen from Tomes and Scrolls and gather the materials it requires. Once you've rescued the Thestrals and you have the spellcraft, you come and find Deke.
I've rescued the Thestrals and bought the spellcraft for the pen.
Excellent! Now, to breed your Thestrals, simply release them into the same vivarium in which you conjure the pen. Then use the pen to start the process. Come and see Deke when you're finished.
I shall. I wonder where I should conjure their pen.
Deke never grows tired of the room's surprises. We now have the perfect place for those Thestrals. Please let Deke know once you've bred them.